Hey, it's your boy Bonte83 for Successful Convicts, and you already know what time it is. Stories from the pen. Hey, I'm back. It's your boy Bonte83 for Successful Convicts, and these are stories from the pen. Okay, now this story, it comes with, this is the time now when I went to the pen, to the joint. Well, it's not really a pen. So a lot of people say pen. See, this is the difference. You got jail. Jail is where they hold you at until you find out how much time you're going to do. And like I've said in previous videos, you can actually do your time in a jail. A jail is just a holding facility. The things about jails, why jails can be dangerous, is because you got all levels of people. You got people that's going to be in there, they might do life. You got people in there that might go home when they go to court. You got people in there that's just sitting in there for the weekend, dry out. Like if they catch a DUI, sometimes they get caught, they too drunk, the police or whatever make them sit in the cell till they alcohol level come down, and then they let them go home. So it was an FCI. Now at the federal level, you got prison camps, you got lows, mediums, highs, and you got USPs, which is United States Penitentiary. I wasn't at a penitentiary. I was at a low, I think Sandstone FCI. You got FCIs, which is the Federal Correctional Institution. It goes high, you got high FCIs to low FCIs. So I was at Sandstone at the time. Sandstone was a low, which meant that it was nobody there that had over 30 years. So usually everybody there is from 30 years to just about 10. And when you get to 10, you can go to a camp, because at a camp you can have up to 10 years. It depends. It used to change. Like sometimes you could have 10 years, and then sometimes you had to have under 10 years. So I know it seemed like only a day, but it's the same way if somebody got a year or somebody has a year and a day. Like a lot of times you hear people say, oh, I got sentenced to a year and a day. They throw the day on there because anytime you're doing time up to a year, you have to do all of it. You have to do the whole year. You don't get good time. Good time don't kick in until you doing over a year. So sometimes the judge will give you a year and a day, so therefore you eligible for good time. Then when you eligible for good time, you get the good time, you wind up doing like about 8 months off of a year sentence, a year and a day sentence. So anyway, long story short, I'm at Sandstone FCI. You know, I think I've been there for several months, because by this time I'm working in the kitchen, know some people. So now when I first went in, I used to get these magazines, these little dog magazines, American Pit Bull Terrier magazines I used to get. And you know, in prison you get a lot of people. In federal prison, you're going to get people from all over. You're going to get people from, I was even in a prison with people that was from Puerto Rico. And that was because at that particular camp, they didn't have a camp in Puerto Rico, so that was the next closest camp, so they was just sending all the Puerto Ricans from Puerto Rico, because it's part of the United States, to that camp. But anyway, so I'm at Sandstone FCI. It's this guy, he from Indiana. Was he from Indiana? Yeah, he's from Indiana. So anyway, this guy was funny because at one point, because he used to have his hair in French braids. I thought he was light skinned or mixed, because he was claiming a Chicago black gang, you know what I'm saying? So I assumed that he was light skinned. He was from Indiana, so I'm like, well, because in Chicago they do have other races and different gangs. Like they got Black Latin Kings, they got white GDs, white BDs, you know, and stuff like that. But it's not a whole lot. So seeing that, it's kind of, you know, it catches your eye like, man, did I just see what, you know? So anyway, long story short, this guy was claiming he was a BD, black disciple. So he was a short, come to find out he was a white guy. He used to just wear his hair, he used to get his hair braided. So another thing about this guy too, he had, and you know, when you go to prison, you don't, you know, it's not like back in the days, you don't wear like your street clothes. But anyway, he had these Nikes on, right? But like he had one leg was shorter than the other one. So the heel on one of his Nikes was like this tall. You know what I mean? He had like a high heel on one Nike and he used to walk like this, you know, because he had that limp because one leg was shorter than another. Now this dude, he claimed he was into pit bulls, so you know, we used to have our little pit bull talks. I would let him see my magazines, you know, because we was halfway cool or whatever. So the thing about this dude, now that's the thing about it. It seemed like the worst dudes be always the ones that you get into an altercation with. It's never the dudes that's on your, well, sometimes it is. But for the most part, if you a cool, mellow dude like I am, you know what I'm saying? I don't bother nobody, don't nobody bother me. So this dude, he's short, right? He might have been 5 feet tall. He got one leg shorter than the other. So, you know, he walked like this. And then he didn't just walk like with a straight limp, like, you know, he actually walked like, because they had him on some type of medication, so he was already like mentally off balance, you know. And everybody used to laugh at him. Really, he was like a joke. You know, you got this white guy getting his hair braided, calling himself a BD. Nobody really took him seriously. They just like whatever. So let him see my books. So we in the kitchen, and he used to. This what he was known for. He used to always say this. Like he'd be talking to somebody, and like I said, you know, he was like this joke around the compound. People used to, you know, push him around and stuff like that because he was off balance. He'd be like, you know, man, come on, cut it out, man. You know, that was like a joke. And he used to always be like, man, I'll bust all. He'd point at your face and be like, man, I'll bust all that up. I'll bust all that up. But anyway, so we in the kitchen. We clean up the kitchen. Now he worked in the officers' chow hall, like. You know, you got the chow hall in the kitchen where the inmates eat, and then in the back, you got where the officers went and ate, you know. So he used to clean up in there. So I can't remember exactly the words we had, but like I said, he had a foul mouth. Like, he would say stuff that was kind of like, it's disrespectful. There's just certain things, you know, you don't call a man a bitch, a hoe, you know, it's just certain things you just don't say. You know what I'm saying? It's disrespectful, and it's what we call fighting words. So, mind you, I'm still kind of fresh in, you know. So we talking, and we get into like a little play of words or whatever. And we going back and forth. But, you know, it's just, you know, we just jabbing, so to speak. We just talking crazy, you know. Not too crazy, not like we about to fight, you know, just talking stuff to each other, you know, passing the time. We in the kitchen working. So he sprayed some spray in the air, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, chill out, man. What's up with you? So he like, man, you know, he staggering because he used to talk like he was drunk because of the medication. So he sprayed the spray on my arm. So I'm like, all right, man, you got me. So he had a towel. So I'm like, man, let me see your towel, man, so I can wipe this stuff off my arm. Man, fuck you, man, I ain't giving you shit. So I'm like, hey, straight up, man. Now I'm getting serious because these chemicals, you know what I'm saying? When you cleaning up, they have you with all these chemicals, and they got this big old book, the MSDS, I think they call it. But it's all these different, like for each chemical, they tell you how to counter react it. If, you know, if it get in your eye, get in your skin, you swallow it, whatever. So now I'm like, man, let me see your towel so I can wipe my arm off. Man, you just sprayed this chemical on me. Let me wipe my arm. It probably wasn't nothing but just because it was the stuff he cleaned the table with. So it wasn't nothing too harmful. But you just sprayed this on my arm. I want it off. I ain't giving you nothing. So I takes my arm and I walk up to him and I wipe my arm off on his chest, on his shirt. So he like, oh man, fuck you. He sprayed the spray in my face. Bam. Now before I know it, bing, 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 bing. I think I gave him like a 4 or 5 piece. And he used to wear glasses too, right? And it was just like reflexes. You know, because when I went to wipe my arm off on his chest, he sprayed up in my face. And I'm like, oh, bing, 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 bing. I look at him, he like, his glasses on his face, like, oh, man, what's up, man? And the dude, he must have been a bleeder, because his face was all bloody, blood coming down his face. And the dude who used to make the Kool-Aid, he was cool with me. He came over there like, man, whoa, because the kitchen police was right there, but we was on the other side of the milk cooler. He was on the other side, so he didn't see it because we both would have went to the hole. So he like, man, chill out, man, chill out. So he like, man, go on, clean yourself up. So dude, he called this other dude, was like, hey man, finish mopping for me, man, so I can go clean myself up. And that was my first altercation in prison. But prior to that, the dude had gotten into a couple scuffles with a few other people because, like I said, he had a reckless mouth. And one thing about it, man, I don't care if you old, young, fat, skinny, tall, short, no matter what, certain things you say, you just wrote a check and now you finna cash it with your ass. Because it get to a certain point when you start running your mouth, you say certain things that's reckless out your mouth, ain't no takebacks. Ain't no my fault. Like for instance, dudes didn't even like to be called the N-word. Like, you know, you had certain dudes, but like when you get around, like, for instance, the Muslim community, a lot of the older guys who, you know, been down for like 10, 20 years, man, they don't play that. They don't use the N-word and stuff like that. You know, ain't none of that you can't call. You know, you can't even say, man, fool, you know, all that old street, the stuff you do on the street, no go in prison. No go. Wind up losing your life from running your mouth, being reckless. So yeah, so the after effects of that, it was crazy because he went and told some guys, and like I said, he was claiming he was a BD. So, you know, he went and told some guys, but pretty much they brushed it off. And then he had gotten into it with this other dude, and the other dude scraped him. I mean, put it on. They say dude whooped him bad up in the unit because he was running his mouth. But yeah, and that's just how it is, you know. It's that type of thing because when you let, like say for instance, I would have just let that slide. One, he would have thought that he can do it again and it probably would have escalated. He would have did something a little bit more severe. Two, other people watching or around listening, they see he do that and you don't do nothing, now they gonna try you. See, prison is crazy because everything could possibly be a test. You know what I mean? It's like things is just so touchy. That's why people be so respectful, because not being respectful, you can lose your life. Just, I mean, over something as simple as I've seen it in the TV room, moving somebody's chair. Like you got guys who, you know, you got TV shows, like let's say for instance, let me think of a hot TV show. A big TV show that was in there, Prison Break. Imagine that, right? Prison Break. Like say Prison Break come on at 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, dudes is they gonna have their chairs where they sit at. So like you might have a dude chair who he sit right here, and in his mind he lying right up where he need to be. He gonna know where he need to be. You wanna put your chair here right next to it, don't move his chair, because if his chair is moved over an inch, that might be the cause for him to just snap out and let it all loose and you sitting in your chair, next thing you know, you got a knife in your neck. Sounds crazy, but that's how it is. So, man, hopefully you like that story. Like always, if you haven't already, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like or dislike the video, and leave me a comment. Leave me a comment, because especially if you dislike the video, let me know what you disliked about it. Leave a comment. And if you liked it, of course I want to hear why you liked it. Or, you know, that I'm doing a good job and I'm entertaining y'all. So leave me a comment. Subscribe to the channel, which if you're watching, hopefully you're already a subscriber. Like the video, dislike the video, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. Post it on your social media so other people can see it. And that's your story from the pen.